So recently, seeing thousands of Mexican immigrants trying to come into the U.S., like demanding a visa, I believe. It just made me rethink, like, that's not the way you go about doing things. You can't just say, oh, because it's thousands of us, give us citizenship or give us a visa. You have to follow a certain protocol, a certain procedure. Like, I understand you guys are wanting attention, and I think they achieved in getting attention, but I don't think just because, like, thousands of people come together, they can just demand something. You still have to go through the same process as any other illegal immigrant trying to get citizenship into the United States. And I don't think blocking major highways is the way to do it. I think that's selfish, even though they're still in Mexico. I believe they're trying to find an entrance into Texas. I see the struggle and I admire the dedication and the coming together of a people, but I think it's the wrong way in doing it. To me, this kind of shows that because it's lots of us, we're coming, you will give us citizenship, and we're coming to take over. So to me, they're coming over with the attitude from their country, but they're saying they want to be in American citizenship. But I feel like it's kind of an attitude of, I want to take over, or we're going to take over, if it makes sense. We're coming, we're here, you won't deny us. We don't have to follow protocol because look how many of us, and we're coming to take over. And I don't think that part is cool. There is protocol for a reason. Now, with that being said, I feel like if it were a mother and daughter, a mother and child, or a son or a child, whoever doing it, maybe as a family, or two or three, or here, there, with a heart of mercy, whereas they can't do it the legal way because maybe they don't have money, but they're humble to God and they're like, I know this is wrong, Lord, but I have the right intentions. Please have mercy on me. I want to come over. I feel different about that because I understand as a Christian, God is a merciful, loving God. But I feel like it's all in your headspace and your attitude. Like, if you're humble and maybe you don't have the money to do it, so you have to do it that way, but when you get over, you try your best to follow the right procedure from that point on. I feel different about that. Like, yeah, Lord have mercy. But if you just coming over like, look, it's a bunch of us, y'all gonna give us citizenship, and then when we come in, we taking over. That's how I kind of feel like they coming over. Like, with the mentality of, we here to take over, and you will grant us citizenship. That's a problem. Like, no, you have to abide by American laws. Just like if I come to Mexico or any other country, I have to abide by your law.
Customs and Border Protection. This disruption started at about 1:30 on Sunday, and this happened at the Paso del Norte Bridge in El Paso, Texas. Now, this connects El Paso to Ciudad Juarez, Mexico, and CBP says that they deployed physical barriers to stop this attempted mass entry into the United States. Why are we seeing this right now? Well, you probably remember the immigration policy towards Venezuelans changed in October, and since then there's been a swelling of Venezuelans in Ciudad Juarez on the Mexican side. According to Customs and Border Protection.
Okay, so what stood out to me in this clip before I wrap this up is seeing those children, the little girl and the little boy, just walking. Like, I don't know if they had food, maybe their parents had a backpack, but they just was like determined. Like, that is some determination, and that's something that I can't imagine any kid doing at a young age, just walking, trying to get into America, just wanting a better life. And I admire that, even though I don't think this is the right protocol, but I'm also not in their shoes. But I don't think that getting a whole bunch of thousands of people together, like the way they're doing it, is the right protocol. But to see it from a child's perspective did make me like, wow, that's a lot they're going through. To see them passing that little boy through the water and crossing, to see what people go through just to get in America, we are so blessed. But again, I don't think that's the right procedure to just be like, oh, it's a whole bunch of us, we're coming, give us citizenship. You got to follow protocol, and you have to be humble, and you can't come over with the mentality that we're taking over or you're going to do this. No, it's protocol for a reason. The last point I want to bring up is there's proper protocol so that things are in place so that it's not a hindrance to other citizens, whether they be citizens of America or Mexico. They're saying they're blocking a major highway, I believe, in Mexico. You're blocking your own people from getting to work, getting to job, whatever they're trying to do. Why? Because you are demanding a visa or demanding attention. That is the wrong thing to do. That is selfish. That is not how you go about doing things. You don't just say, okay, millions of us or thousands of us are going to come. We're going to shut down this highway. You're going to to give us a visa. Now you're stopping people from getting to their businesses, from their jobs, from doing what they need to do in your own country because you're trying to get into another country you don't have rightful citizenship or passage to. That's why there is that protocol. So I think them just blocking a major highway shows that they think, well, because we have strength in numbers, we can do whatever we please. And that's not the way it works. And you can't come over to America with that attitude either. It doesn't work that way. You have to follow protocol. So as I begin to watch more and more news stories on YouTube about this and try to do my own research, my heart started changing, and I started seeing how a lot of the people in the crowds do seem very innocent, seem very humble, do seem like they just want a better life. Do I think that or do I know who's in the crowd? No, but I think that like any group of people, you probably have a mixture of good, bad, and everything in between. But for the most part, I understand that most people are wanting a better life. But then there could be some bad cookies in the mix as well. I say all that to say I think as a Christian, my heart just went out more. And it's like, how can I just say, as a Christian, oh, let's close the border when God is for love, God is for mercy. And if I was one of these immigrants, just finding out there's also Asian immigrants migrating through like the continents as well, just like these people on foot, like we're so blessed in America. But as a Christian, just like, I don't think the right answer is to completely say no or yes, build a wall and shut people out. What if that was me? What if that was you? We have to put ourselves in other people's shoes. And again, God is love and mercy. But at the same time, there is a protocol to protect American citizens. So I just pray, like I said, and you're going to hear it in this next clip, which is very interesting. It's 20 minutes long, but it's worth watching. So watch it to the end. It's from 5 years ago, but it's dealing with the same immigrant issues of them caravanning, banding together, and trying to get access into America or Mexico for a better life. Yeah, I seen it's just my heart goes out because so many of them are innocent and do just want a better life, and they're only doing it because they don't want to sit around and watch their kids or families get killed in the dangerous countries they come from. Yes, America is dangerous, but we have more opportunity over here. It's still more safer places or whatever like that. You know what I'm saying? We got our Chicagos and stuff, but it's the land of opportunity. So I guess I'm saying as a Christian, I feel like we should pray, and the cops and security can help us cipher out and let the innocent in, the women and the children, those who are the men that are really coming for a better life, and to work those in, and the people that are coming to just like take over or create their own laws and disobey laws, keep them out. Because it's some of them too. Like some people just don't want to hear, they just want to do it their way, and they feel like, well, look, it's a whole bunch of us. No. But so many of them are not that way. Some may be. So I think that's where the protocol comes in, and the security and the forces to cipher out between the good, the bad, and the in between. So as a Christian, I don't know if the right answer is we need a wall. But I don't know if the right answer is as well that we don't need a wall, because it needs to be protocol, it needs to be rules. I'm kind of in between now. I'm a little confused, but at the same time, my heart still goes out to the humble in the crowd, praying that the Lord lets the right people in. That's all I'm saying, and keeps the other people out. That's just it. Some context. All those clips that y'all just watch were in response to a video, a news story I had seen for the first time like 2 days ago, introducing me to what was going on with the immigrants. And I could not find that news story again to include in the video. So everything I was seeing was about what I had originally watched. Later, I went on YouTube and just watched some more news stories to enlighten myself. And I realized it wasn't just Mexican immigrants, it was Haitian immigrants and Guatemalan immigrants. And then they are not just trying to gain access to U.S. soil, but there are some Guatemalans that would just prefer to get to Mexico to have a better life as well, and Hondurans as well. So it kind of enlightened me to that, to the diversity amongst the immigrants. But one thing they all have in common is wanting a better life. Also, I'm about to show you another news story that I watched on YouTube that showed me another side from the immigrants' perspective, showing me that they're all not lawbreakers, although they may be going about this the wrong way, but because they have no other choice, like they don't have money to go about it the right way, does that make it okay. I understand it doesn't make it okay, but sometimes you have to get away from the drug dealing, the gangs, and all that that's going on within their country. We know that it's bad in the other countries, and it is. So this is like the only way out for them, and that's what this other news story showed me, and also showed me that they're not all having that attitude of we're coming to take over. Like, you'll see one man in this next clip actually trying to have them like line up, like he was wanting to get in, but he was like, let's show them that we're still trying to be respectful, we're not trying to be rude, we just want help. And I got that from him. And then the other gentleman that you guys are going to see him saying that he wants us to know that they're not all criminals, like they're not all bad people, they just want a better life, and some of them do want to come over and just work hard. And I know that there are a lot of illegal immigrants that are hard workers. A lot of them do construction. I know a lot of Hispanics in general are very hard workers. And then we have some Americans that are very lazy. So that is something that they have against some of us. I'm not saying all Americans, but that is something that some immigrants are willing to do jobs that some Americans don't do anymore, because some of us, unfortunately, are lazy. But I think the truth of the story is, in watching like different news clips, it shows that you have some news stories that's going to show the bad and the ugly, going to show them knocking over the walls and trying to pass through, and some of them that shows the crowds that like they do look like they just don't care, like they coming to take over, they not trying to obey no laws. And those are the ones I'm like, y'all need to keep them out, because you can see just by the way they acting, they just trying to take over, they ain't trying to obey no type of law, they just look like law breaking citizens. But then you have the others, the mothers, their children, the gentlemen that are willing to follow the law. They just need an opportunity to get some sort of green card or some type of citizenship so that they can make a better life for themselves. And they're not trying to start trouble, they just want help, and this is the only way to get it. And this news story that I'm about to show kind of brings enlightenment to that. And then looking at other news stories, you're going to see the bad, you're going to see the good. And the truth of the matter is, within that crowd, you have a mixture. You're going to have some lawbreakers, but you also have some future law-abiding citizens with only if given the opportunity to be a citizen. They just want a better life. This is the only time they would be willing to break the law for the opportunity for a better life, if that makes sense. So the truth is, you have a mixture. You don't just have this group of just bad people, and you don't have this group of just great people. It's a mixture. And I think that's what some people are saying is a problem. You don't know who we're letting in. But then I think the best thing to do is to pray and to have those people at the gates, making sure they're not letting in criminals and all this stuff, and who they can help to help. And I just ask God to have mercy, like I said, on those of his children that are saved within the crowd but don't have money. I ask God to bless them to get in, them women, them children, and men that are willing to be law-abiding citizens for America, that are willing to work, that are willing to be humble, not coming over trying to break rules and take over, but want to make a difference and want to give back to American society, just want a better life and are humble. I ask God to let them in. But those that are just, they look like they clearly just loopy, no. We got a mixture. So let's get into the story, because it helped me. So let's get into it. Now, again, there we go. Okay. All right. Press escape to exit full screen. Okay. So we got that. And
right now, a whole lot of people are caught literally between countries. Many believe that they cannot go back to in a country that says it doesn't want them. They're on a bridge. This is new video on the border between Guatemala and Mexico, trying to make their way into Mexico, or for some, the United States. And President Trump is keeping them out, a mission of his. He's also made them, rhetorically at least, into a threat to this country, and he believes a powerful campaign issue. Now, whatever you think of this so-called caravan, whether you see them as refugees or invaders, one thing is clear tonight. They're in a standoff right now with an army of Mexican federales, and tensions are running high. More now from our Bill Weir, who's at the border.
At high noon, the bridge over the border was empty. But then for some reason, Guatemalan police threw open the gates.
No, Cerrado, it's closed. It's closed.
The first tried to form an orderly line, but that lasted only seconds as thousands surged behind them with a mixture of exuberance and frustration and determination. half an hour, the crowd calmed itself, even turning on the few troublemakers. Some couldn't take the heat, though, and jumped into the river.
Our message is we're not criminals. We come here because we need a job, we need better, a better life. That's why we're here.
Do you understand that President Trump is going to use the pictures of thousands of people surging to the gates against you? He's going to point that to people and say, this is scary.
It's his politics, we respect, he's the president of the United States, and with all due respect, we are not criminals.
Donald Trump is un anticristo. Donald Trump is an antichrist, this man says.
Hilarious.
If he doesn't repent, he's going to hell. We are not criminals. We are workers and fighters. Eventually, Mexico opens the caravan, but only a trickle are let through, women and children first, including Marta Torres, who tells me her husband was murdered by Honduran drug gangs, and her 3 other kids are still across the river. Do you want to go to the United States? Have you heard, though, that President Trump doesn't want more people coming, and he's even separated families who try to come? What should we do now, then? She says, I don't want my kids to cry. I don't want to have the lives of my children further destroyed.
Bill Weir joins us now from the Mexican side of the border. So what's going to happen to these people? What's the situation right now?
Well, that's a good question, Anderson. They did, as I said, opened up a trickle there, and they were moving them 3 busloads at a time to a refugee camp here on the Mexican side there. But at the rate we were seeing it, it will take days to get everybody off of that bridge. As you saw there, like Marta, she's seeking asylum from a dangerous place. Others are trying to find a better life for themselves and their kids. But all of them, I've never seen anything like it. It was like people running from a burning building. And to try to convince them, turn around and go back, it just wasn't happening. We had to crash that piece together. So what you missed there is there was tear gas. They literally forced the gates open at one point, but the federales forced them back. 4 officers of Secretary of State Pompeo were injured in that. But then, in a real sense, the crowd completely calmed down, and they realized this is just one step on this journey. They walked across Guatemala from Honduras. They're prepared to walk the length of Mexico to find a better life. So this seems like just one more bump in the road. But the new president of Mexico ran on a policy of being more humane towards Central Americans. They've asked for help from the United Nations. That's a first there to help process determining who deserves to move north and who doesn't. A lot of people say they want to work in Mexico. Not all of them are coming to the United States, but just a little taste of why this is such a relentless political knot for the United States. How to make this stop.
But I appreciate you being there, Bill. Thanks very much. Be careful. Two views now, the domestic politics of this. Joining us is Van Jones, hosts the Van Jones Show here on CNN. He's former special advisor of President Obama. Also, Paul Babu, he's the former sheriff of Pinal County, Arizona, and former Republican, organized by Democrats to impact the midterms.
I don't think that makes a lot of sense. First of all, Democrats are having a hard enough time just organizing inside the United States to do an election. This probably, if anything, hurts because it raises this whole question, this whole specter of, do we need a... I want to say that this blot test, some like myself, who are and who need something with being stuck on a bridge for hours with my kid. Other people look at that and say, we're scared of those people. We don't want them here. And we're trying to sort out, I think, as a country, are we welcoming? Are we empathetic? Do we care about people? Are we mainly going to say we're closed for business in America, folks? And I don't know how this is going to play out for midterms.
Paul, do you believe the Democrats have somehow inured this caravan of thousands, that it somehow plays?
No, clearly, I think this is real, that there's serious issues with gang violence and lords, cartels, and all kinds of issues down in Central America. I just want to keep this in perspective. There's 45 million people in Central America. And so what is the limit? And Van, you bring up a good point. Is America open or closed? Clearly, America is open. When you look at globally, that America, we take 1 million legal immigrants each and every year. And so what's the capacity? What's the limit that these forced migrants who are trying to rush the Guatemala border into Mexico to come to the United States? Clearly, our refugee asylum laws are being exploited, because never have we had this amount of individuals that are claiming asylum, and we have lawyers from different groups in the U.S. being sent down to Mexico and other places throughout this past year to coach these individuals of exactly what to say to exploit our laws. So the point I made is this is real. This we help ICE there, and they can stay there. They have a third of all Salvadorans here in the United States of their total population. So what do we do? Just empty their whole countries?
Well, I don't think anybody's saying that. And I actually know some of those El Salvadorans. I'm sure I'm glad they're here. They're doing some of the best work and raising great families and doing well in our country. That said, I got a little bit confused by what you're saying, because on the one hand you said it's real, this whole lawyers going down there and coaching what's happening. I see it somewhat differently. We are not doing enough on either side of the border when it comes to the amount of violence, of fear, of crime, of hunger. And as a result, when you don't deal well with your neighbors, sometimes your neighbors' problems spill over. I would love to see what you said happen. If we had a real commitment to help the countries down there do better and to figure out what's going on, and really we're engaging, I think you're right. I think you would have less of these problems. Here's reality. I don't think the people who are supporting Donald Trump want us to help them at all. I don't think they think those folks are worthy of help there or here. I think they see them as some kind of an other. And that's my fear. I'm not saying that it's correct, but my fear is that they're being portrayed as some kind of a scary other that deserve no help, and that scares me in America.
Well, here's what I would say in response, respectfully back. Where's the limit to our generosity? We're the most generous. What about our own people? What about putting Americans first? You look at just Chicago, many cities across America, in one weekend, 80 people that are shot, a dozen plus that are killed in black neighborhoods. Where do they seek asylum? Yeah. What are we doing to prioritize the needs of the homeless, the veterans, our senior citizens? And we're talking about literally borrowing, because we're in such debt, borrowing hundreds of millions of dollars while we already have 22 million illegals that are here in the United States. And there's got to be a limit to our generosity.
I think that I agree with you that we can't do everything for everybody, and that there has to be certain limits, that kind of thing. Here's what I would take exception to. The idea that we should throw up a Chicago, or throw up homeless people, or throw up veterans. Often when I hear people doing that, they don't actually then turn around and go to Chicago. They don't turn around and then go to those funerals in Chicago, help those. It becomes almost like a talking point, or something where you're pointing to other people's pain and other people's funerals, but not being involved in helping. So ultimately it becomes more of a talking point to otherize, for lack of a better term, another bunch of people. That's not
me. I'm talking about real problems in the United States,
listen,
throughout our country. I'm submitting that we put Americans and our citizens in our country and our concerns first above Hondurans.
I may have missed. Let me just give me 1 second here.
It's true.
That sounds great. But what I hear is, whenever something happens with the immigrant community, we say, hey, we're not going to help you. We should help people in Chicago. But then we don't help the people in Chicago either. And so it begins to seem like maybe this is just a talking point for the conservatives and not something we're actually going to be actionable about. I think we can do better in Chicago, better at the border, and better beyond the border. But right now, we're not doing better with any of those folks.
This is not a Democratic or Republican issue. This is an American issue. And I think if Americans can learn to just come together as a people to help Americans first, then we can move forward as a nation to helping immigrants, whether illegal and legal, get the best assistance they can, whether it's in their country or in our country. We have to learn how to stand together on certain issues. Until we do that, until we put God first, until we learn how to stand together, nothing's going to go. Not. So hold on. Let me fix it.
Kizik, take me to the spot.
Whoa. Boom, boom, boom. Sorry, my internet is freezing, but I'm trying to get back to y'all. So here we go. Come on, I just want to wrap this up. This is going too long. So basically, like I said, this is actually prompting me to want to do more research on the asylums and immigrants, possibly even refugees. Like I said, I'm planning to go to school in January. Trying to figure out if I'm going to finish my degree in education for early childhood education. And that would be kindergarten through 6th grade, or if I want to switch over to history because I love history more. That can deal with politics, that can deal with things like this. Assimilation, immigrants coming into the country. And I feel like, what is the answer? Because I feel like for me, like I said before, I didn't mind people coming over just wanting a better life as long as they're not trying to do this, that, or the other. But I feel like I know now that there has to be a proper protocol to follow that. However, the truth is everybody doesn't have the money to follow the proper protocol. And that's why we have to get back to putting God first and to praying. But we have to come together as a nation, Republicans and Democrats, and we have to help each other as Americans first. Once we come together as a nation, once Republicans and Democrats, once liberals and conservatives can come together and build a strong American government and a strong system and work together, then we can help immigrants, legal and illegal, give them the proper funding for those that are helping illegal immigrants and even for legal immigrants. Once we do that, then we can build a better foundation to how as to assimilate these immigrants, legal and illegal, into our country for those who can come over, and then block the ones that shouldn't come over, that are what's that called? Maybe they're felons, or maybe they're wanted, or maybe they're drug lords, cartel, and all that. We have to get us together first. But the problem is we're so busy fighting within our body that we are all over the place, because liberals are fighting conservatives, Democrats against Republicans. Americans don't stick together. So then when it comes to an issue where we have millions of other people or thousands just coming over any kind of way, bum rushing us, well, they can do whatever they want because we don't even respect each other. So they feel like they may feel like for some of those that don't want to respect the way the law is built and how they should properly come over, because it's not that all of them don't want to respect it. They don't have a choice. They may not have the money to do it the proper way. But for those that don't respect the law, they're like, look at y'all. Y'all don't even respect each other. They just watch. Look how y'all fuss. Y'all don't. So what do y'all care about what we got going on? Y'all not even together as a nation. We have to get together as a nation and stand together and build ourselves up before we can help anybody else. So I agree with his point that help needs to start first with helping us, helping the inner city youth, helping not just Chicago, but Baton Rouge, Dallas, Bankhead, the hoods all over. And we need to help each other. We need to build us up. We need to build the youth up to go to college. We need to draft those that are in gangs and stuff. And I don't quite know what the answer is besides praying and asking God to be merciful to the humble within those crowds, to his children, to those that are just really wanting to build a better life. They're not trying to do nothing illegal. They just want the opportunity to come over here, get a job, work, and make a better future for their kids. And then God has children, those that are Christians in those crowds, but they're coming over because they don't know no other way. Then I imagine if I was in their shoes, and if I didn't want my kids to be around drug lords, then I understand joining in with them and just like not running over American troops or Mexican troops, or like not running over, but like joining in, like, okay, I'd rather join in with this crowd and wait around so that I can bring some attention so they can help us. Not the part where they jumping over gates and jumping over walls, and not that part, but I would just be in the crowd like I have to get out of here. I would be one of those, because there are some of those in there. Then there are others that's just like, I'm jumping over. I don't care about, we got good and bad, just like in everywhere and everything else. So this is just going to make me want to do more deep diving into government, into politics, to figure out the proper way to assimilate immigrants, both legal, but I guess more so illegal, into our system. You have to know how to shift out the good from the bad, because I don't think it's right to just turn them all away either. But I also think there's a way how to let those that can come in that are not dangerous the right way where it's not going to crash our system, the already working Americans. And we know that a lot of them are hard workers, and some of them will work harder than regular Americans. I understand that, but there has to be that proper protocol so that everything is balanced, so that our economy and our jobs and our things aren't just taken away and just given to, new immigrants coming in. It has to be a balance. So that way there has to be that proper protocol in place. And I think the proper protocol is, since they don't have the money, just putting those certain groups that are specifically designed and dedicated to helping illegal immigrants, just putting them in place, knowing, hey, they're coming, have some shelter, have food, get their papers ready, get them ready to be assimilated so they can get in the process to become documented citizens. But then also have it where, they have their jobs, but it's not taken away already from our jobs. So I think the proper thing is to create more jobs so that then our government is regulated, the economy is not crashing, but it's bumping, like it's producing more money is going around. So I think it could be a plus if done right. And if those security are really at the border, like checking every person, making sure they're not letting dangerous people in. And then besides that, we just got to pray. But this is just making me want to take a deeper look in the government, because if it was me and I couldn't go about it the proper way, maybe I didn't have money, I would be in the crowd too, trying to get here, but I would be praying like, Lord, make a way, put me in connection with the right people so that I can do everything I need to, but I would do it respectfully. So don't assume either, for those that are strictly conservative, I'm conservative, don't assume that all these people are monsters or lawbreakers. Just because they don't have money to go about obtaining their American citizenship the right way doesn't mean that all of them are like bad, horrible, or lawbreakers. They're just trying to get away from the dangerous place they're in. Some of them may be, but not all of them. So keep an open mind. But yes, I understand there's rules and protocols. So we just got to pray, and we have to come together as a nation and help us first. Then we can reach out and put other, systems in place to help immigrants wanting to come in. We got to stand together first. That's it. Goodbye. Thanks for joining. I'm not deeper into it. I got to search politics some more. Peace. Have a good night. Be blessed. Remember, Jesus is the key. God is love. Let's pray for those immigrants. As a matter of fact, let's pray for the immigrants. Let's pray for America. Let's pray for Israel. We got to pray for everybody. God is love. Jesus is truly the answer. And favor ain't fair. Now he got some children everywhere now, and he gonna bless those that serve him. Favor ain't fair. Remember that. So that part make a difference. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. God bless. I'm out. Last but not least, I wanted to add an interesting fact. I did hear a news reporter say that according to statistics, research has shown that cities with borders actually have less crime than other American cities like Houston, Atlanta, and I'm sure Chicago. And I thought that was interesting because I know most Americans think the problem with immigrants coming over is for security reasons, like because they're assuming they're all killers, drug dealers, rapists. And according to statistics, that's not true. Most of them are actually safe and do want a better life. Of course, we know they want a better life, but they are not dangerous according to statistics, not the vast majority. There are those few in between. But again, according to statistics, they're saying American cities are more dangerous than those cities with borders, where like immigrants are passing in between. That's very interesting because most Americans assume that these immigrants are dangerous. And we don't know, but we are assuming wrong according to statistics. Remember, Jesus is love. Leave your comments below. God bless. Remember, again, Jesus is love. Prayer is the answer. But law, God does say obey the laws of his word and the laws of the land. But again, that's where mercy comes into place because most people don't have money to go about it the right way. So we pray and we hope to let in those innocent, the humble, those that are coming for a better future and that are willing to help in America. That's it. Bye.